right? I started the recording, Sachin. Yes. Okay. पनी माताडतामा काम शुरू करेंगे हाँ सर okay so if you remember in the last session we have created only database server and then creating database in Azure was pending okay so that is what we are supposed to do so creating database in Azure using Terraform okay so Terraform Azure SQL server okay sir and then they have said that try to use MS SQL server and we have gone with MS SQL server if you remember yesterday now one is SQL server which we have written yesterday and let me open that yeah right AWS is also pending sir yes so this is what we have done yesterday and now this is just a server part if you remember we have to create the database also now to create the database Azure RM underscore what is it MS SQL underscore database if you remember this is something which we have figured it out yesterday okay and I'm opening this in another tab there is one reason for that I'll try to speak about it fine so to create this database what are the inputs which I need to give I need to give name of the database and then I need to give server ID and what is the type of this resource okay so let me go over here and then let me try to write resource okay so I'll call it as SQL underscore EMP underscore DB let us assume that this is an employee database okay and now the first thing which I have to give is name which is required field okay so name is equals to employees assuming we are creating employees database and then the next thing I have to give server ID but the problem is I should figure out the server ID so I'll go with the attribute section attributes are outputs of current resources so are you getting the ID over here yeah so Azure RM SQL server dot ID right okay and then let us try to see what are the other things auto pause delay not interested create mode to be very honest I'm not interested in this also other things no no max size in GB I think max size in GB let me give 20 okay or not 20 5 okay and right so do you want to create sample database what is the SKU name which you want if you remember there was serverless you could have created serverless and all that stuff but I have chosen basic yesterday so I'm going with SKU name basic SKU underscore name is equals to basic okay nothing much but we said that we will be creating tags for everything which we do so tags is equals to env is equals to dev, and then created by is equals to Terraform. Okay, this is what we have written, and okay, sir. Let me get into that folder. The first thing which I'd be doing is Terraform fmt, and then Terraform validate. Okay, right. Should it SQL underscore em? Sir, ID of the SQL server, sir. ID of the SQL server, what it would be? It is ID is our attribute of the existing resource. Resource type dot name dot attribute name, right? శ్రీకాంత్ నిన్న జరిగిన కథ గుర్తెట్టుకోండి. మనం నిన్న మాట్లాడింది పుష్ప సినిమా, ఇవాళ మాట్లాడేది సన్ ఆఫ్ సత్యమూర్తి కాదు, రెండు ఒకటే సినిమా. మీరు మళ్ళీ కలిపైతే తెమలదు, రైట్? ఓకే, ఫైన్, గుడ్. సో let me go over here, and then let me try to tell that Terraform apply -var -file is equals to what is that I have written, dev.tfrs, right? Oh, dev.tfrs. Let me try to do. Terraform will update the state file and then figure out the difference between what is present in what is that you want versus what is already created. Yes or no? While it is doing its job, let me define this term called as configuration drift. Okay, configuration drift is difference between actual and desired state. Okay, so in Terraform, plan represents, okay, what has to be done to basically make it same. Okay, so plan represents drift. So if plan tries to tell that there are no changes, that means that what you want versus what you have written is exactly same, that is there is no drift. But if you have made some changes and what is present in your Azure or AWS cloud, if there is a difference, that difference is something which we call as drift. Okay, so now this is the plan. It is trying to tell that I have to create two things. If you remember, yesterday I have not created the database. Okay, so let me click on yes. So it is creating a server and then it will create a database. It would take somewhere around 5 minutes to do this activity. Did I write dependency? No. So there are two corrections which I need to do. So right now, if I delete everything and start, it would fail because I have not defined dependencies. Okay, ideally I should be defining dependencies between. Yeah, it will not fail because resource group name we have not written directly, right? So what is it? Okay. Uh, Okay, there is a problem with max size. What is the max size which you have created yesterday? Let me do one thing. Let me not give max size, and then let us try to define depends on also. Depends on is equals to Azure RM underscore resource group dot enter RG, and over here depends on is equals to Azure RM underscore SQL server. Okay, if you want, you can wait till virtual network is also created. Azure RM underscore, where is virtual network? Virtual network dot enter VNet. That is what it is, right? Yeah, good. So let me go over here. The problem is with size. So Terraform apply. This is dynamic failure. This has nothing to do with your configuration. Terraform cannot validate dynamic things. So Terraform can pass the inputs. Right now, what Azure is trying to tell us, whatever values which you have passed is not valid for basic. It would have been okay if I created serverless. Okay. So that's the reason I've stopped passing that value. Let us see whether it will work out. If not, we'll try to pass the right value. Okay. This time I'll be using Terraform apply, or first always flow fmt Terraform validate. Okay. So right now the drift will be server is created, but database is not created. Let us see. ఈ ఏసీ సెలవు ఇచ్చారా? ఇది ఇటు ఈశాన్యం కూర్చోవద్దన్నారా? ఇటు బరువు ఎక్కువ అవ్వద్దని. क्लास में भी हम लोग वास्तु के हिसाब से बैठ रहे क्या? इधर भारी नहीं रहना क्या? Okay. Now, if you try to see, it is trying to tell only one thing has to be added. That's the reason why you are seeing a plus symbol. Okay. Right. Now let me try to use yes. ఆ ఏసీ కూడా ఆన్ చేయండి సార్. మనకన్నా పేదరికంలో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఏసీలు వేసి కూర్చుంటున్నారు రోజంతా అని. అది కూడా వేయలేదా? ఓర్ బాబోయ్. This takes time, sir. Yeah, let us wait. ఏంటి అందరు టెరాఫామ్ గురించి మాట్లాడుకుంటున్నారా? सभी लोग टेराफॉर्म के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं क्या? When you create a Kubernetes cluster from Terraform, okay, you have to wait for 12 minutes. Okay, these things I cannot speed it up, and there is nothing that the speed of your machine can do anything over here. This is the time which your cloud provider is taking. Yeah. Okay, so is it done, sir? Good. So let me go over here. Okay, so let me go to resource groups, and our resource group was enter-rg, and in this we have created SQL database and SQL server. Right, sir. So we have added the resources or resource to create SQL server on Azure and applied the template. Okay, right, sir. So okay, right, sir. So this is what we have done, right? Yeah. Refer here for the changes. Okay. So right now, did we create only one resource or multiple resources so far? ఇప్పటి వరకు ఒక రిసోర్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసామా మల్టిపుల్ చేసామా తెలీదా ఓన్లీ వన్ రిసోర్స్ ఇప్పటి వరకు ఓన్లీ వన్ sir if it is only one why will I have these many sections sir if you remember I have created virtual network I have created resource group I have created database and before database I have created server okay so in this there are multiple resources right so what Terraform has is Terraform has one interesting command which is called as Terraform hyphen help. Are you saying there is something called as graph? Yeah, right. So shall we use that command? Yeah. So Terraform graph command creates dependency graphs in dot format, which can be visualized in GraphViz. There are tools called as GraphViz tools. So now let me. I don't know how to use Terraform graph tool. So Terraform graph hyphen help. Okay, so in this graph, what is it trying to tell? So Terraform graph, it produces a representation of dependency graph between different things which you are trying to create. Okay, right. Now let me try to tell that Terraform graph. Nothing. I'll not create anything more than that. ఏమన్నా అర్థమవుతుంది ఇది? No, right? Okay. So there is some tool which understands this format. One is GraphViz online. Okay. So the format, it basically creates a graph which looks like this. Okay. Now what I'll try to do is whatever you have written over here. Let me try to copy all of this. Paste it over here. Are you seeing? It might not be okay. So are you saying it is basically trying to tell that you have started your creation. Okay. And the basic idea is first you are going to create a resource group. And then after resource group, you are going to create a virtual network. Then you are going to create a server. And then you are going to create subnets, which is wrong actually. So even after subnets are created, you should be creating your database. So shall we correct that? Yeah. So now what I'll try to do is, all you need to do is, while you are creating this, Azure RM underscore virtual network dot for subnets. What was the resource group which I have taken? Subnets. Am I clear on this, sir? So there is a tool called as graph dot tool. On Linux machines, you can generate the graphs directly, but for now it's okay. Let us. And then there is also a Visual Studio extension which can show you these graphs. But now also it is same. Oh, I think it is taking the previous plan that was generated. If I do apply now, I'll be basically getting this stuff. Okay. But the whole idea is you should be creating SQL Server after subnets are created. If I let me do apply, okay, apply చేసేద్దాం. Anyway, there is no configuration drift over here. Terraform apply -var -file is equals to dev.tfvars. So that it, oh, what is that I messed up with? Pair the pressing. Okay, right. I've given the wrong name. But the graph is showing in downward direction. That's exactly what it is, sir. Whatever is on the top is what it is going to create last. Yeah. Okay. Terraform graph. Refer here for the command. So ideally, right, when you basically have a command line tool, what you can do is you can do this. If you have a tool called as dot install, you can convert that into SVG file, and then you will be able to see this image. But that's okay, right? So you can give type is equals to plan deploy. What is the depth? Depth is deprecated now, so it is trying to tell you the same thing. Okay, right? So if you try to see, elastic load balancer will be created after your EC2 instances are created, not before. Okay, after load balancer is present, then you create a DNS record. It will be in this order itself, right? What is the usage significance? It will show the order and the dependency graphs between what you have written, sir. So Terraform graph, if you are trying to draw this, whatever you are getting is the order in which your resources will be created. Okay, so whenever you're working on the work that is not written by you, and if you want to understand the order of their creation of resources, all you need to do is Terraform graph, create the this format, and then try to use it in any visualizer tool. Okay, so now if you try to see, it is basically creating resource group, virtual network, subnets, and then SQL server, and then database. Okay, right. Okay, sir. Fine then. So, oh yeah, let me show you this. Okay. If you want, you can download, share whatever you want to do. Yeah, or you can install the dot command line tool on your machine. Okay, this we will do when we want to document the work whatever we have done. Okay, so all right. Okay, sir. So let us go back to what we were discussing yesterday. Okay, or in the last class. So in the last class, our discussion was I wanted to create a database in here, right? Yeah. Now I want virtual machine also in the app subnet, but my database is still not in the DB subnet, or there is no endpoint. I'll add that. Okay, that I'll add it at the last for both AWS and Azure. What will be the difference? So for now, what we will do is create virtual machines in Azure using Terraform. Okay, sir. Okay. Now let me draw this over here. Okay. Azure VM icon. So this is Azure virtual machine. So let us just try to create this virtual machine, which will have some kind of public IP address. Okay. So for this, what I'll try to do is I'll try to take uh, Ubuntu icon. Okay. So for now, we will stick to this much of information, and then we will try to add little bit more. Am I clear on this, sir? So this is my goal now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So overview of our goal. So I want to do this. So what should I know? Manual steps. Fortunately, Azure. So Azure Linux VM quick start. Now, if you go over here, you will have all the steps. Let me walk through the steps. Refer here for manual steps. Now, so you need to create a virtual. We might have done this multiple times in the class, but let me quickly walk through it. So you need a resource group. You need to try to tell something called as image, and you need to give virtual machine's name. What is the size? Size we will be trying to take a standard underscore B1S because it is free. Okay, right? And yeah, what is your key? We'll be going with password authentication, not key based authentication. Okay, because anyway, key based authentication we'll be doing it in AWS. Then you can apply the same logic over here. Okay, now yeah, that's mostly it. You would basically try to do, and then you will get some machine. Okay, so to create a virtual machine, what I need is I need a virtual network, right? So which I already have. Resource group, which I already have. And then I need to figure out certain informations. So the first information which I need is I need to basically give this VM image. I need to give this VM image. So first thing what I'll try to do is Terraform Azure VM. Let us try to see what it tries to speak about. It tries to tell that whenever you are trying to create a virtual machine, I have a special thing which is called as Linux virtual machine and Windows virtual machine. If you want, you can use that, or you can use this stuff also. Let us go with Linux virtual machine. Let us see what is in here. Because anywhere we have to give arguments and we'll get attributes. So when I'm creating the Linux virtual machine, before I go into examples, let us see what are the inputs it tries to take. Admin username, what is the location, license type, okay, what is the name of your virtual machine, network interface ID, resource group name, size, okay. Do you want any additional capabilities? You have all the fields which are basically present over here. Okay, right, sir. So let us uh, basically get started. Okay, now for virtual machines, what I'll be trying to do is I'll try to create one more Terraform file which is called as app.tf, and then I'll be trying to write a resource which is Azure RM underscore Linux underscore virtual machine. In this Linux underscore virtual machine, let me call it as app server. If I want to create multiple, I would have given the name called as servers and use that count function. Okay, so for now I want to use only one machine, so that's okay, right? Now let us basically go into this. First thing is name of the virtual machine. So let me try to write name. Name is simple. Name is app server. Okay, let me call it as 1. Tomorrow when you are basically trying to create multiple things, use some number to it, app server 1, app server 2, or whatever it is. Okay, then location. Location is simple. We have figured out that we will always be using Azure RM underscore resource group dot location. And then what is the license type? I'm not specifying it. And resource group name. Resource group name is Azure RM underscore resource group dot name. Okay, right. Now the other one is admin password, and then there is something called as admin username. So let me do that. So what we are doing is not a very secured way, but that's okay. So let me try to give the name of it as Qt DevOps. And what is the password which I've given for database? Let me give the same thing. This password is not great at the rate 1 to n 1. Yeah. Admin underscore password is equals to, okay. Yeah. So till here, do we have any problem? I'm just filling the values. Okay. Right, sir. Now the thing which I want or I am interested in is image. Okay. So how do I give Ubuntu over here? Well, let us see that. Come on, where is it? Or let me go into the example. So from that we can figure out. So in this example, okay. Right. Are you saying source image reference? Yeah. So this is a structure which I need to fill. Okay. So in Azure, whenever you are trying to create a virtual machine, you need to give 3 things. UI, you select only one stuff. Okay. But whenever you are creating in Terraform, you need to give 3 things. Publisher, that generally represents the company who is building images. And then you would have offer. Offer basically speaks about what is the category that it belongs to. SKU is the version. SKU is the version. So now let me quickly show you AZ VM image list. Okay, right. Hyphen location, and we are creating it in East US, right? Right. So are you saying there are a lot of things over here? And then let us try to figure out something to do with Ubuntu. Okay, so there is CentOS, there is Ubuntu, but if you look at Ubuntu, there is Ubuntu 18.04, but you don't see Ubuntu 20.04 or 22.04. How do I get that? Okay, so one thing which you can do for the people who are learning Ubuntu, who are learning Azure, I'm quite sure that some of you know how to select the publishers. AZ VM image list publishers, list offers, list SKUs. You can do that. Or Ubuntu 22.04 publisher and offer in Azure. Okay, right, sir. Let us see if we can find some information on this. Okay, Ubuntu on Azure plans. No, this is not enough. Find Ubuntu images on Microsoft Azure. So it says that what is the offer? The name is different. They have changed it. So that's the reason Ubuntu name looks little bit different over here. So let us go with these three things. Is that okay? Yes. Now I'll go over here and then I'll try to tell my source image reference. Okay. So what is my source image reference? Sorry. Publisher. Sorry. Publisher. And publisher is simple. It is Canonical. Canonical is a company who is responsible for Ubuntu. Canonical. And then the next one is offer. Offer you can basically try to take Ubuntu focal. If you want 22.04, search for 22.04. Yeah. And then SKU. Whatever is written over here. Okay. Right, sir. So, but writing like this, I didn't like this idea. Okay, fine. We'll change this. Okay. I didn't like this idea because I'm Googling. Okay. Right. So we hardly have. For now, let us continue with this. But let us create a virtual machine, see the errors. Because at around 6:35 there is fasting time. I have to give a break for 10 to 15 minutes. After that, I'll discuss how to fix this in a better way. Yeah. By the way, I'm not fasting. This is for the people who are fasting. Right. Okay. Right, sir. So now the other thing which I need to give is what is it? Size, right? Size of the machine is standard underscore B1 S. Okay. But where did I give my subnet information? If you look at it, I have to give my subnet information. If you remember, I have to create this machine in my entire virtual network in my app subnet. Okay, did we pass that information? No. Right. So let us just understand one thing over here. Okay, and then we'll go out for break and then fill that value. Generally, let it be any machine. You go to any cloud for that matter. Okay. Or even in real world, even in physical systems, basically what happens is you will have some system and then you would have some network. This network is connected to your system by a very important interface which is called as network interface. Okay, so physical network interface looks something like this, where you plug in your network or Ethernet socket. It looks something like this, and actually this is what gets an IP address and this is what gets a MAC ID. Okay, now here what is it I want to do? I want to create my virtual network in some subnet of my choice. So do I need to deal with network interface? Yes. Some clouds make it explicit, some clouds do it implicitly, but in any cloud you would have this concept called as, or even not, and forget about cloud, even in your laptop you have network interfaces. Okay, so now I need to create a network interface which can connect to app subnet and get me a private IP address from there. Are we clear on this? If I'm doing it in AWS, okay, whether I pass directly value in the virtual machine or anywhere, indirectly whenever I'm dealing with network, I'm basically dealing with network interface card. Azure calls it as NIC, AWS calls it as Elastic Network Interface, but the concept is same. So Now, what is that we are in need of? Terraform, okay, Nick, Azure. So let us just have a look at what are the arguments. So you need to give some IP configuration, you give location, name, all of that is fine. So what is that we are interested in? So are you seeing some subnet ID? Yes. So this is something which you can basically give. Whenever we are trying to speak about any specific networks, then we deal with network interface. Whether you do directly or indirectly, you are dealing with network interface. So we'll go out for break. How much, sir? When is the fasting time, sir? Who is fasting here? 6. Okay. OS disk is not required at this moment, so that's the reason I didn't pass. Okay. When it comes, we'll speak about it. 6, 45, 41. So what should we do? Okay, we'll continue for another 5 minutes and then we'll stop and then give it. Okay. Right, sir. So did we understood this concept of NIC now? Yeah. So it is a network interface which basically speaks about it. Let me go to the virtual machine and still look at argument information. Okay. Right. Come on. Okay. So this is what we have used. Source image reference. Okay. Boot diagnostic certificate. Right. We have all of this. Okay. Now OS this will come back to what that is at a later point of time. But let us see if there is anything to do with networking. No. There is nothing with respect to networking. The only option which we have is we have to deal with network interface. So what is the network interface now? Resource, Azure RM network interface, and then app server underscore NIC. Okay, or app server 1 underscore NIC, whatever you call it. Right. So now let me directly try to tell that I am depending on Azure RM underscore network interface inka alada app server NIC. Okay. Now this depends on Azure RM underscore subnets. So if the subnet is not created, what will NIC do? Yeah. So right now let us try to look into what is that we need to basically speak about. I have to give name. Name is the most easiest thing which I can do. Name is equals to app server NIC. Location Azure RM underscore resource group dot location. And what is the next thing which it wants? Resource group name. Resource group name is Azure RM dot resource group dot enter dot name. And what is the other thing? So IP configuration. So let me try to write IP configuration. IP configuration is a block. That's the reason we are trying to write codes like this. And whenever you are trying to write IP configuration, it tries to tell that you have to give name. So the name that is used to configure this IP configuration. You look at example if you want. Okay. So you give IP configuration and they give some stuff to it. Okay. So let me try to write a name. Okay, I'll try to write app server IP. Now in this, yeah, gateway load balancer, we are not doing this. I need to give subnet ID. Okay. So subnet underscore ID. Let us basically go with our network and then I am creating multiple subnets over here. Okay. And then let me go to inputs. Okay. So web app and DB on that. Okay. Where is my WAR file? TF wars. Yeah. So I've given app and DB, right? So whatever is the first subnet, I want the ID of that. Okay. But I cannot risk it. So what is that I'll be trying to do is variable app subnet underscore index. Okay. So default is equals to 1 because in the default 0, 1 and 2. Okay. And type is equals to number. Okay. Now I'll go to the dev.tfrs and then here I'll try to tell that app subnet index in this case is 0. Okay. Now let me go to my virtual machine creation and then I'll try to tell that Azure RM underscore subnets of, okay, we have a variable var dot app subnet underscore index dot, what is that we want? Let us see what is that we want. Subnet ID. Let me go with example usage. So he has something called as dot ID. Ante. Okay, right. Now let us try to look into any other configuration which we have to give. So what is your private IP address allocation? If you want to give, you can give. Okay. So I can try to tell that my private IP address allocation is dynamic. Okay. So if there is dynamic, there is no need for you to fill the value. Okay. So now public IP address. If you have a public IP address, you can basically try to tell what is your public IP address, but that's okay. Yeah. So we have done till this moment, right? Yeah. Let me stop it at that. And then let us go out for break and then continue this discussion after 15 minutes. Okay. So 6. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Do you have any document that present AWS or Azure resources in tree structure? Sir, if that is the case, I have to create a document for everything which you have to. Please try to learn cloud and understand it. Okay. For the people who don't know cloud, I'm showing you the manual sequence. You create that sequence, Sandeep. I think I'll not be able to do that. ఇప్పటికే సరదా తీరిపోతుంది నాకు. ఓకే, ఇంతకు మించి దయచేసి నా దగ్గర నుండి ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేయొద్దు. రైట్. ఓకే సార్, వచ్చేసారా చుట్టాలందరూ? ఆశ్చర్యం ఏంటంటే ఉపవాసం ఉన్న వాళ్ళు గమనించారు. రైట్. ఓకే, రైట్ సార్. సో now I have to create one network, and in this network I have given this. Okay, so I have to connect this to my virtual machine, right? Yes. Okay, so just let me go to the example usage. If you try to see, he has created a network, and then are you seeing network interface IDs? Okay, so now let me try to write network interface IDs is equals to Azure RM underscore network interface dot what is that, app server underscore nick, and generally it will have ID. Okay, good. So we have done mostly the stuff whatever is enough. Okay, one more thing, let me try to write version is equals to latest terraform fmt. Okay, now let me try to do terraform apply. Let us see what it will try to tell. Oh, I have not done validate. Okay, sir, it is trying to that private IP address allocation is required. So let me go over here. We have allocated IP address in network. So private IP address allocation is equals to dynamic. If it is static, I have to give the IP address of it. I don't want to get into that nonsense. Right. Let us try to see what happens. Okay. Then it says that you have done everything, but you have not given me the OS disk block. Okay. So let me go over here in this and then directly try to write about this OS disk in virtual machine. Okay. Right. So there is no need for you to, if you miss any fields, Terraform will remind you. Okay. If you have given any semantic mistake, it will try to tell that you have messed with this. So for example, if you have in the last case I have given 5 GB, it said that you are not supposed to do that because you are giving basic. Yeah, so don't be afraid of attempting with different values. Yeah, అసలు కొంతమందికి ఎర్రగా కనబడితేనే నచ్చట్లేదు, కొట్టంగానే అంత పచ్చగా అనాలంటున్నారు. ల్యాప్టాప్ కి పచ్చ రంగు వేసుకోండి. రైట్. సో DevOps में गलतियां होते हैं. DevOps principle itself is fail fast. Yeah, so and our job is basically fixing them. Let us see the order. First nick will be created and then virtual machine. So let me try to click on. Okay. So it is trying to tell that you have given admin SSH key must be specified. If you want to go with password authentication, at least ensure that disable password authentication is set to true. Okay. So చూసారా మనం చేసిన తప్పులకి ఇదే చూపిస్తుంది. Yeah. Now let me go over here and then let me try to tell disable password authentication is equals to true. Oh no, not true. I want to enable, right? Yeah. Disable password authentication. I want to enable right now. Yeah. So right now the drift will be network interface. Did it created? Yes, I think it is created. Now it will just try to create a virtual machine. Yeah. But there is one problem which I am hoping to happen. Let us see. Password I've given. Even if I make a mistake, it will not create. It will just try to tell you that this is a mistake. Which okay. Now let me click on enter. Yes. మీరు మాట్లాడకుండా ఉండాలంటే తొందరగా క్రియేట్ చేసి పెట్టినా లేకపోతే ఓన్లీ రిసోర్స్ గ్రూప్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఆపేద్దాం క్లాస్ అవుతే అదైతే వెంటనే రాసిన వెంటనే క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది రైట్ ఓకే సో ఇస్ ఇట్ డన్ యా రైట్ సో నౌ లెట్ మీ గో ఓవర్ హియర్ refresh this. Sorry, saying virtual machine. Let me get into this virtual machine. Do I have public IP address for this virtual machine? Do we need that? In this case, actually, I need it, right? So, let us assume you need public IP address. Are we getting public IP address? No. So, we have two problems to be fixed in Azure. One is our database is created out of our network. So, there is no way for my virtual machine to access database without going through internet. Okay, and no one will like that idea of your server speaking with database using internet connection because it has to be private. That is the first problem. And second problem is my machine needs a public IP, at least in this infra right now. When we create a load balancer, we can remove the need of it. Okay, so right now we have two outstanding problems, but that's okay. Okay, let us make first this stuff. Okay, added virtual machine creation. If I want to create 5 virtual machines, will you be able to handle that? Count 5 in network interfaces. Count 5 in virtual machines. Try to link them up. That's it. Yeah. So remember yesterday we have used count equals to 4 or 2 or 6 or whatever that number was in virtual in subnets. Okay. So but there are certain things in this template which I'm not liking. Okay, let me discuss about that and correct that, and then we'll do the same thing in AWS. Okay, so refer here for the changes. Okay, so we have created a virtual machine without public IP, but and database connectivity between virtual machine and SQL is using internet. Okay, so we will work on these activities, okay, in next session. So this is something which we'll try to work. Okay, but right now what we have created is we at least got one virtual machine running. Okay, right. Okay, so now let us try to look at improvements. With every improvement we will try to learn some aspect of Terraform. Okay, right. Connectivity spelling wrong, eh? Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. All right, so let us try to look at improvements. The first thing which I am not liking in this is I still got this hard coded values which we have avoided. If you remember, in network, do I have any hard coded values? అంటే నెట్వర్క్ మనం క్రియేట్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ లో ఇనిషియల్లీ when we used to create network, we used to pass the values directly 192.168.0.0/16 and all that stuff. Later on what we have done is we have moved them to variables. Okay, so over here there are certain things which I want them to be in variables and certain things which I don't want them to be in variables. Okay, right. So let us try to see how to solve some of them. I'm okay with tags. Tags we will deal it at the last. Let me go over here. What can be moved? Okay, so in here, okay, right now, if you remember SKU name, what is the SKU which you want? I can ask this to the user, and database name also I can ask to the user. Okay, right. So let me go to inputs.tf variable. Okay, database underscore info type is equals to object of. Okay, so what are the things which I want? I want name. Name equals to string, and then SKU. That also for me is string. Is there anything else? No. Okay, and then default is equals to name is employees. SKUs is equals to basic. Right, sir? Yeah. Now let me go over here. Okay, and then var dot, what is this? Database underscore info dot name. Here var dot database underscore info dot sk. Right. Now let us come to here. Okay, so variable server underscore info type is equals to object, and whenever you are trying to tell object, you need to tell different properties which you want to pass. So what are the things which I want to basically pass? So SQL server, I have taken names, is it? Oh, all the names I have written it in a different structure, is it? Fine. At least I should have moved database name also over here. Fine, it's okay. I'll try to write rest. Okay. So version, again it is a string. And the other one is username, string. Password is equals to string. And then let me try to write default. So password is whatever values which you have written. You can't write everything at one shot. Do it in phased manner. It would be easier for us to handle. Okay. So username is DevOps. Version is equals to 12.0. So now let me go over here. Var dot server underscore info dot version. Var dot server underscore info dot username. Var dot server underscore info dot password. Looks better now? Yes. So we have one file left, which is app. Okay. Let us try to look into what are the things which we can give with respect to this. Okay. One, I need network interface information. So variable network interface underscore info. Type is equals to object of, okay, name equals to string, and then okay, IP underscore name is equals to string, and then let me try to tell subnet index also over here. Subnet underscore index, which is a number. Okay. And IP underscore allocation underscore method, which is also a string. Okay. Fine, sir. Now just try to write default, it will expand the values for you. So my IP allocation method is dynamic, and name is equals to app server, or not app server, nick, app server nick, app server IP. Subnet index, what is the subnet index which you have given? 0 here. Okay, let default value is 1, right? There we will change it to 0, and then let me remove this completely. Okay. Now network interface info, here var dot network interface info dot name, var dot network interface info dot what was the IP underscore name? Yeah, right. So var dot network interface underscore subnet index, var dot network interface info dot private IP address allocation, or IP allocation method, sorry. Right, sir. Is it done? Yeah, right. IP underscore name kada ichindi kada. So when you want to move between two things, you can use control tab, sir. Yeah, you can use Visual Studio Code cheat sheet also. Yeah, all right. Now let us try to get into virtual machine info. Are these variables looking difficult for you? Once you get used to this object, it is much easier rather than creating too many strings. Yeah. So variable and VM underscore info and type is equals to object of, right. So name equals to string. Okay. And then username is equals to string. Password equals to string. And sir थोड़ा धीरे सर, ऐसा बात करो ताकि मुझे पता ना चले, right. Okay. So then I'll not write this publisher info in here because I'll be dealing with this separately. There is one reason for that. Let us go with size. Size is equals to string. Okay. And OS disk, I'm not even going to write a variable for that. Okay. Let it be hard coded. I'm okay with that. Okay. So default is equals to name is app server 1. Password, yeah, right. Size standard underscore b1s. Username qt. Okay, right. Now here var dot vm underscore info dot name, var dot vm underscore info dot username, var dot vm underscore info dot password, var dot vm underscore info dot uh, size. Okay. So let me go over here and then let me change the subnet index to 0 so that I need, yeah, let me put it as 1. Okay. Now let me go to dev.tfrs. I don't need this anymore. Okay. So what is that I need? If you want, you can pass the values. The only thing which I want to change is network interface. So let me try to write network interface. And in this, I'll try to copy exactly what is default. The only thing which I want to change is, okay, subnet index is 0 because I have two names and I want that to be created in app. Now Terraform FMT. Right. So this is what I have done. Is it looking better than what it was, sir? So don't hard code the values because once you directly write the values, the problem with that approach is tomorrow when you want to give flexibility, you will not get that. You will not get that. Okay. So every time we are creating only with standard underscore b1s, what will you do if some other size needs to be created? Some other location needs to be created. If you want to change these things, we should have flexibility. That flexibility is basically provided by something which is variables, which you already know. I've just ensured that user has an access to pass decent information. Okay. Now, so what is the improvement? Try to parameterize. Okay. Right. So using variables, and I can create text for everything. Easy variable, rather than giving an object, I can easily create everything as text. But the problem is that will create too many variables. You really don't need too many variables because even this is not difficult, right? Is this really difficult to do something like this? All you need to do is give this name dot this name. So this is much easier and efficient. Okay, right. And avoid creating too many variables by using object structure. Right, sir? Okay, fine then. Now let me try to do Terraform validate. Let us see if there is something which I messed up. Generally, when you create variables, right, you mess up with certain dots and all that stuff. Now let me go with apply. So ideally, it should not. In this case, there is no drift. We have not changed anything. We have just used variables. Let us see what it tries to tell. Okay, right. Now let me go through this app.tf. Okay, I don't want to change these kind of informations. Okay, and then even this. The reason for that is we'll be learning something interesting, and then we will try to basically deal with this in a different way. Just in a moment. Okay, right. What can Terraform do, sir? Are you seeing no changes? Yeah, good. Now Terraform can create resources, right? Yeah. Terraform can do one more interesting thing. Okay, right. Refer here for changes. Okay. So Terraform data sources. So till now we have used Terraform to create resources in provider. Do you agree with me on this, sir? Yes. Terraform can also query the provider for various informations. Okay. What can Terraform do? Terraform can query the provider. For example, it can go and ask Azure, okay, can you give me an image ID, or can you give me a virtual machine image ID where I have this information? Can you give me the VPC ID which is matching this IP address? Can you give me a resource group which has this name? Okay, rather than creating, it can also query. Rather than creating, it can also query. Right? Fine, sir. Is it possible to create custom role from here? If AWS can do black magic, Terraform also can. Yeah, that is what Terraform is capable. You don't ask me whether this is possible, that everything is possible. All you need to figure out is what is the resource and how to basically do the manual steps and pass it over. Okay, right. Fine, sir. Now, if you look over here in this, what is that I'm trying to do? Is it not a query? I'm trying to tell in the Terraform resource, trying to tell that I need an image where publisher is canonical, offer is this, version is this, and SKU is this. Okay, so let me basically go over here and then Terraform data source. Okay, refer here for official docs. I just give this refer here sections only for fun. There is no need for you to read that. Is my statement true, sir? Okay, I expect you to read that. Otherwise, there is no point in me giving that refer here sections. Right. So you can basically query information. Are you seeing he's getting some Amazon machine image ID? Right. So you can query different things in Terraform. So is basically data source also has arguments based on which you query, and output is the result which you get. Okay. Now let me go to this provider, and what is that we need? VM images. Are you seeing data source Azure RM underscore image? Yes. So till now we were focused only on resource section. Resource section is to create a resource. Data source is to query. Okay. So now let me go over here. and then try to query. So while you are querying, it is asking what is your name. Do you have name regular expression? Okay. Do you want to give me the resource group name? Do you want me to do something which looks like this? Okay. So okay. Azure RM underscore image. Azure RM underscore images. So over here resource group name, and this is basically for the images which you have created, which you have created. Okay. So Terraform VM images image ID data source. Azure RM underscore shared image, not shared image, sir. Let me no. How is this possible? VM image. Let me see the argument reference. Why? So I can pass name, name regular expression, sort by descending, data disk name, location, OS disk, data disk. No, no. This is for the VM images which we are creating. Oh, fine, man. How is this possible? Right. Let me see. Terraform, Azure, VM, data source. This basically gets the VM, but it's fine. Okay. So for that example, I'll change my example because for this I don't see anything. There is one more way of basically doing it. I think they have not given this. This is the only way for us to create. Okay. Right. But let me try to, since I have started this discussion, let me try to do this. Okay. So I'll remove this after this because let us have some realistic examples. Data sources dot tf. Okay. Right. So let me try to get subnet ID. Let me try to get subnet ID. Okay. So Azure RM, come on, underscore subnet. I'm not interested in app services. Let me go in network. Network. And are you seeing Azure RM underscore subnet? Yes. So what I'll tell us, the syntax is use data. And then what is that you are querying? I am querying for subnet information. So what is the name for your reference? For my reference is, let me call it as my underscore subnet, whatever it is. Okay. Right. Now, in here, it tries to tell that how do you want to figure out what is your subnet ID. So you can use different things. I can pass name of my subnet. I'll try to tell that name of my subnet is app. Right, sir? Name of my subnet is app. And then virtual network name. What is the virtual network name which we have given? var.names.vnet. Okay. And then is there anything else? Do you want to give the resource group name? Yeah, I want to give resource group, but it is not necessary that you have to give everything. Okay. So resource group name is equals to Azure RM underscore virtual network or var dot names dot. I think I have given resource group name, right? ఉందా ఇది ఈ పేరుతో ఉందని అనుకుంటున్నా. I think I have given resource group, not resource group name. Okay. So what is that I've done? I've created a data source. Now if you try to look into this, what I'll try to do is, remember while I'm creating my virtual machine, in network interface, I have passed the subnet ID. Yeah, where is it? Subnet ID. So how did I pass the subnet ID, sir? By basically using something. Okay. Now what I'll try to do is I'll try to replace with data dot. Data means I have queried. So what is that I have queried for? Subnet. In that subnet I got this and okay. Let us see what happens. In just a moment, we'll be doing anyway AWS. In AWS, we have a better example for doing this. Okay, right. Ideally, there should not be any drift because now it will go and query Azure, trying to tell that give me a subnet ID of any subnet which belongs to this resource group with a name called as app, and out of that we are using ID of it. Yeah. Sorry, saying it is fetching for this data source. Yeah. So it has asked AWS. Oh, sorry, asked Azure. It's trying to tell that there is no change. Okay, but fine. I am going to revert all my changes. Okay, so get reset hyphen hyphen. Okay, fine, sir. Uh, Let me remove this data sources also. Delete. Okay, fine then. So let me go to network interface. Yeah, right. Terraform data sources. Okay, right. And one more thing which is important, which we have not touched, is Terraform outputs. Okay, output is when we execute Terraform, what is that you want to show to the user? What is that you want to show to the user? So right now let us do a very simple thing where I'll try to show private IP address of my Linux virtual machine. Is that okay? Yes. So Terraform output is result which would be shown in the std out. There is one more very important use case of it, but for now let us restrict to this. Okay, so Terraform, all right, refer here for official docs. Okay, sir. Now if you try to look into output, how you define output is you try to tell output some name of it, and then you need to tell the value. What is the value which you want to print? And then we can format it also, right? We'll be doing one interesting formatting in next few classes. We'll try to create some output of Terraform which is very much usable. Okay, right. So for now I'll try to do it. What I'll try to do is, let's display private IP address and database endpoint as outputs. Okay, so for writing outputs, I'll be creating a new file which is called as outputs.tf, and over here I'll try to write an output, and the name of my output is Linux underscore IP or app server underscore IP. So for now, let us display only private IP address. Later, we'll let us try to display public IP address. Okay, good. Now, where is this? Where is it? Yeah. Now, What are the attributes? So are you saying you can give private IP address? Yeah. So I'll try to tell that value is equals to Azure RM underscore Linux virtual machine dot private underscore IP address, right? And then output, okay, database underscore endpoint value is equals to Azure RM underscore SQL server. Okay, let me go with Azure RM. I think we have this open over here. Okay, so what is this? SQL server. And in SQL server, if you try to look at outputs, are you seeing fully qualified domain name? So I'll be trying to give fully qualified domain. Now let me go over here and then try to tell that Terraform first is FMT, then validate, then apply. Okay, so it is trying to that I'll be showing you the outputs. That is basically the plan. Let me try to tell. Yes. Sorry, getting it? Yeah. So from now onwards, whenever you want to see the output of it, all you need to do is whenever you execute, you will be saying this information. Okay. So generally, it is a good idea whenever you try to write Terraform template, right? Create as many outputs as possible. Okay. So added. Okay, sir. Refer here for the changes done. Image name.png is missing. Oh, no. Right, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. Now let me basically execute Terraform and then let me try to look at command. So in this, are you seeing a command called as output? So now I can execute Terraform. Are you getting output directly? So this output is read from your state file. If you remember, whenever we are working on Terraform, a state file is getting created. In that state file, it stores what was your previous output, and right now it is storing that information. Are we clear on this, sir? So you will get output in two cases now. Whenever you do apply, you will get an output. If you want to see what was the output that was previously generated during my execution, all you need to do is Terraform output, and this output will come from your state file. Okay, right. Good. So we have done some decent work, right? Yeah. Okay. Now let us try to do the same thing in AWS. Okay, right. So, but before that, let me try to do Terraform destroy. I don't want this to be running. So let me destroy this stuff. Huh? అసలు స్టేట్ అంటే ఏంటో చెప్పలేదు నేను ఇంకా ఆ బేసిక్ డెఫినేషన్. ఇంకా అన్ని తెలివితేటలు రాలేదు సార్ మనకి. ఇంకొక రోజు ఓపిక పట్టండి. ఓకే. So we understand what refresh is, right? So what is refresh? So Terraform is going with provider and trying to figure out what is present versus it stores a file called as state file. In that state file, it is trying to update that information. Yes. We'll have at least one whole class on state. Okay. Right. So right now for us, state is just a file which stores what was executed last time. Yeah. So are you seeing everything is in minus? Minus represents I'm going to delete this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Let it do its job. And for some time, let us focus on AWS. All right. So in AWS in the last session, we were able to create 6 subnets. We were able to create 6 subnets. That is what we have done. So what is pending? We have to create database and then we have to create virtual machine also over here. Okay. Right. But in generally, if you try to look into Azure, in Azure for creating virtual machine, I have to give some extra information. In the case of AWS, I have to give extra information while creating network because I have to configure certain things. Okay. So for example, whenever you create any VPC in AWS, by default it will be private. It will not allow internet connectivity. So you need to do certain configurations to basically figure out how to do that. Okay. Right. So now for the next few, or for example for the next 1 hour we'll be working on AWS. But before we do that, I just want to everyone has a laptop with you, right? Yes. Okay. Right. So I just want a laptop or mobile phone, whatever it is. Okay. No, not mobile phone, only laptop. Right. So I just want you to do this, sir. Some of you might have done this activity, but try doing this. Okay. So try to use Terraform local provider. Local provider is very simple provider. It will create files local in your local system. Try to create that. Create a file in your somewhere in your system which is ctemp test.txt. Okay. So what is that you are supposed to do? You are supposed to use this local provider to create a file. Okay. Right, sir. Then next time, okay, what you are supposed to do is in this provider, wherever you are giving path, okay, change the path from test.txt to test1.txt and apply, and then tell me what has happened. I am interested in your plans. What does drift sound like in this case? Am I clear on this? ఇవన్నీ నాకు వింతగా ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి, VPCA క్రియేట్ చేయండి. So try to create a VPC. First time, try to create a VPC with CID or with the name or no, don't do VPC. I want this one itself. No, right? Because if it is VPC, then I have to give Azure example, AWS example. I don't want to get into this nonsense. So there is some provider in Terraform which is called as local provider. So how do you search that? Terraform local provider. Sorry, saying this. In this local provider, if you go with documentation, there will not be much. If you try to look at resources, there is something called as local underscore file. So this is basically to understand, learn Terraform, the basic concepts. Okay. Now in this local Terraform, what you can do is you can give content and you can give file name. So I'm asking you to create a file name with any content, hello Terraform or whatever it is. with ctemp test.txt. Do Terraform apply. Okay. And then during the next apply, change the file name to test.txt to test1.txt and tell me what is happening. That observation is important for us. System లేని పేదోళ్ళు సిస్టమ్ ఉన్న డబ్బున్న వాళ్ళు పక్కన కూర్చోండి, right? But I want everyone to observe what is happening over here. Are we clear? Yes or no, sir? Yes. So you have to create a provider which is local. Till now we have been using only AWS or Azure provider. This is only for experimentation. If you want to understand certain aspects of Terraform and if you want to experiment, right, this is the easiest way. Yeah, right. Fine, sir. Try this. Okay. So create a file, then update the path. Over here also apply. Over here also apply. But what I am interested in is plan. How does the plan look like? Yeah, do this, sir. Okay, right. So are you seeing something like instance will be replaced or something like that? So are you seeing something like it will be replaced? That means it is deleting the old file and creating the new file. Yes. So generally, since it is a file, there is no problem. Let us assume that we have done for the virtual machine. We have done for the virtual machine. So virtual machine will be deleted and recreated. So till this virtual machine is deleted and recreated, we will have a downtime, right? Are you understanding my point, sir? Let us assume that you are running some application in a virtual machine, which is managed by Terraform. And then you have done some changes and then you have clicked, you have executed Terraform, apply. And then you get the same thing. The instance will be replaced. Replaced means what? Deleted and recreated. So till it is recreated, will we have downtime? Your application will not be accessible. Okay, right? So did you understand this point, sir? So certain changes when we do might lead to downtime. Might lead to downtime. Eventually, we will know how to fix that. Okay. There are many ways where we can stop that from doing. One way is, okay, do one thing, first create and then delete. Now what is it? Try it. What is the Terraform is trying to do? First it is deleting and then creating. We'll try to tell that, oh, don't do that. First create, let it run, and then delete. That is one option. The other option is, rather than having one VM, have two VMs and delete one after the other, so that at least you will have one virtual machine doing the job for you. So we need to deal with this downtime issues also. We need to deal with this downtime issues also, right? Okay, sir. Good. Last year audio and video. Not sure if it is for all. Sir, am I audible to the people over the web, sir? Yes. Okay. So now let us try to look at the story of AWS. So in AWS, what we have done is we have created a VPC. Okay. Right. In VPC, we have created somewhere around 6 subnets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So now let me try to tell you what is the problem in AWS. In AWS, generally what happens is when you create VPC, everything in this VPC is private. That means it will not get internet access. That means it will not get internet access. To get internet access, you need to do certain things. The first thing which you need to do is, okay, you need to create something called as internet gateway. Okay. So I saying internet gateway. You need to create an internet gateway and attach that to your VPC. Yes. Okay. Now in AWS, what you will have is generally like in our home, we have a Wi-Fi router, right? Every network will have a router. In Azure, there is a default router which does the job very well. So we need not worry about routing generally in Azure. But over here, there will be a route table. There will be a route table. So what we will be trying to do is, we will be trying to create AWS route table. So we will be creating two route tables. Okay. One route table, let us call it as, come on, public route table. The other route table, let us call it as private route table. And then if you try to look at subnets, this is web 1. This is web 2. This is app 1. This is app 2. This is DB1 and this is DB2. Now I want only web 1 and web 2 to be public. Rest of everything I want private. So in route table, you will have something called as rules. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to tell that public route table will have connectivity with internet gateway, whereas private route table will not have connectivity with internet gateway. So only when you have connectivity with internet gateway, you can basically you can be called from internet or you can call internet. Okay. So now and then the next thing which you will do is we will try to associate web 1 and web 2 with public route table. So that means that whatever is present inside this can access internet or can be accessed from internet. And for private route table, we will try to create associations with app 1, app 2, DB1 and DB2. So for all of these subnets, this is a router and this router doesn't have connection to the internet. So now what happens is anything in this subnet cannot access internet. So that means it is private. But both of these route tables, what they try to tell us, when you create a route table, whether I create or whether I allow internet connection or not depends on internet gateway. But by default, I'll allow all the communication within the network. So whether you use public route table or private route table, all the communications inside this VPC are allowed. Okay. So that means web 1 can speak with app 1. App 1 can speak with DB1. That is allowed. But from internet, only web 1 and web 2. Are we clear on this concept, sir? So this is what we want to realize now. Okay. Fine. Okay. ట్రాన్సిట్ గేట్వేనా అంత ట్రాన్సిట్ గేట్వేలు ఎందుకు వాడతాం సార్ ఏదో పదం బాగుందని వాడేస్తాం కాబోతేని ట్రాన్సిట్ గేట్వే కమ్స్ ఇన్ టు ప్లేస్ వెన్ యు ఆర్ కనెక్టింగ్ VPNs. Okay, we are not doing any virtual private networks, right? Okay, so entire in AWS, making subnets public and private. So overview, right, sir? Now first what I'll try to do is let me basically go over here and then try to create whatever is present. Okay, so let me go with okay Terraform apply, or first let me do Terraform fmt Terraform apply -var -file is equals to inputs dot tf and file పేరు ఏం పెట్టాం మనం values dot. Okay, let me rename this. We said that from now onwards we'll be calling them with environmental names. So dev dot tfvars. So dev dot tfvars. Okay, right. So right now it says that there is no change that is basically present over here. So everything is present, or whatever we have written, everything is basically existing. Okay, so first let me try to do get add dot commit -n added changes. Okay, sir, good. Why approval not asked? Sir, when we need approval, sir, when it creates resources, did it create anything here? It says that I'm not going to create because everything is matching. If దేనికి approval, right? Fine. Why do you need approval in this case? Not required, right? Yes. Okay. Now let me rename this file to network.tf. Okay. Now over here, what is that I want to create? I want to create an internet gateway first. So let me close everything. Terraform, AWS provider. Okay. And then, or else you can go with Terraform Internet Gateway, Terraform AWS Internet Gateway. Then you will be able to find it. So AWS, or let me try to write Internet Gateway. So using AWS underscore Internet Gateway. Yes. So it tries to tell that this is something which you can use. So let us create that. So creating Internet Gateway and attach to VPC. Okay. So refer here for resource. So let me go over here and then let me try to tell that resource is AWS underscore internet underscore gateway, and name of this is entire underscore IGW. And then let us look at arguments. So what is that you need to give? You need to give VPC ID and you need to give tags. So let me give, sorry, VPC underscore ID is equals to entire underscore, I can use attributes, right? Yeah. And then tags is equals to, or let me use name is equals to entire hyphen IGW. Is there any difficulty, sir? So I've created the internet gateway and attached it to the VPC. Okay, fine. Now let us see whether this will be created or not. Get add dot refer here for the changes done. Okay, right. Now let us try to look into, sir. Every day whenever I'm doing changes, I'm basically giving this change set. So for some of you might have this unified view. If you find this confusing, try to look at split view. In split view, this was the older stuff and this is what I have changed. So I've added internet gateway. Okay. Now Terraform. Oh, I should have done this. FMT. Good. Terraform. Validate. Okay. Terraform. Apply. Sir, now it will ask for approval, sir. Yeah. Because right now we have done something which will basically expect us to do something. It is creating something. The drift is you are expecting an internet gateway, but in Terraform you don't have, or in AWS you don't have a internet gateway. Let me click on yes. Okay. So let me log in into AWS. Okay, మనం వాడే region ఏది? US West. Okay. US West 2, and then let me go into VPC. So let me go into your VPCs. ఇప్పుడు ఇందులో ఏది మందే? Let us we'll come to know that. Okay. So what is 9BB? Let me remove this. Actions, delete VPC. Okay, right. So are you seeing this VPC ID? And in this, are you seeing internet gateways? And in internet gateways, it is basically attached. So internet gateway and this stuff. Okay. Now let's create two route tables. Okay. So first one is public, the second one is private. And public route table needs to be connected to two subnets and private route table to four subnets. Okay. నేను ఇవాళ ఏం చేస్తున్నానంటే రేపటి నుండి రేపటి క్లాసు అంటే ఇప్పటి నుండి రికార్డింగ్ ఆపేస్తున్నాను, నోట్స్ కూడా రాయదలుచుకోలేదు. మాట్లాడుకునే వాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుకోండి. రైట్, whoever is speaking can continue speaking. I am stopping the recording and I'll not write notes from now on. Now you continue speaking. రైట్, అంత ప్రేమలు ఏవి ఎడుతాయండి నాకు అర్థం అవదు. రోజంతా ఇక్కడే ఏడిచారుగా. రైట్, ఓకే. So I'm stopping the recording, by the way. Let us see. Right. Okay, sir. Now Terraform destroy. Right, sir. Okay. So tomorrow there is one GitOps discussion. Okay. So it would be in the second half of the day tomorrow. Yeah. Somewhere around 2 to 4 or 5 o'clock. And that information will be shared to you on Slack. That information will be shared to you on the Slack. I just need to figure out whether it is possible tomorrow or not. That's the reason I am not confirming. If it is not possible tomorrow, we'll do it on some weekday, but we'll be having that GitOps discussion. And whatever GitOps which we have done, we will have Terraform workshop after we finish Terraform. Okay, from Terraform, we'll be creating a Kubernetes cluster. And this work we will do again from GitOps, so that you will have that CI/CD flow. Okay, so even for the people who have joined this week, you can join that session. The reason why I put restrictions that I wanted you to show me whatever work which you have done before I allow you to that session is because I want you guys to work. It is not because I didn't want to deliver. If I didn't want to deliver, I would not have even spoken about it because it is not part of our curriculum anyway, right? So for me to deliver content, kindly ensure that you are giving me, you are not giving me negativity. You don't need to give me positivity. That's a different story, right? Okay, right, sir. So one thing which I wanted to share, let me try to do that. Okay. Oh, it is not here. 1 minute, sir. Just 1 minute. I'll stop the screen sharing just for 2 minutes. For the people on the web, you might not see my screen because I stopped sharing. Just give me. Okay. Right, sir. People in the classroom might have seen this. You might have seen some posters, but we have achieved something interesting this month, sir. Okay. So yeah. So this week on till now we got 9 offers, and the reason I generally don't showcase, I don't speak about this, but this is a very difficult month, sir. This month has been very difficult due to uncertainty in the industry. Many people are laying off employees, right? So and interviews have suddenly became tougher from the past 2 months. Even in this period, there were some of the students who were able to crack the jobs, and most of the people from here are JOIP, from JOIP, and there are a couple of students who are from only training also. But the whole point is, from day one, I never believed in shortcuts. Okay, so there were a lot of ways for getting the job. My focus is not only on you getting the job. My focus on you is becoming employable, so that you should go to the organization and then work. And this is really a difficult journey. మీ చూస్తే మీరు జాయిన్ అయినప్పుడు మీతో పాటు ఉన్నోళ్ళు వేరే చోట ప్రాక్సీ కాల్ గట్టా చేయించుకొని ఉద్యోగం చేశారు. కానీ ఆయన ఉద్యోగం ఎప్పుడన్నా పోవచ్చు. So when you get job by other means, they might lose the job. In your case, even if you lose the job due to layoffs, it is because of uncertainty in the industry, but not due to lack of skill. That is what I believe in. And if you look at our programs in quality thought, all the other programs, they have HR. They have ఇలా చాలా మంది ఉంటుంది, చాలా ఫ్యాట్ గా ఉంటుంది మొత్తం. అంటే ఫ్యాట్ మీన్స్ you have lot of other layers. If you look at DevOps, I said that I don't want all of that. Okay, so this is a technical course, and what I believe in is skill. I don't need any HR, any placement manager, any support from you people. Okay, ఆఖరికి బొమ్మ కూడా నేనే తయారు చేసి. So even this design is also created by me. I said that I don't want any support. Okay, because that is very much in sync with what we do as DevOps engineers, right? So there were approximately 9 people who got jobs, and there are some of them who are almost at the verge of cracking it, and I'm quite sure that you guys also will be able to crack it. అంటే ఇది ఎందుకు చూపిస్తున్నానంటే ఈ నెలలో 8 ఉద్యోగాలు మనం నేను అసలు ఇంటర్వ్యూ జరిగినప్పుడు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఐ విల్ నాట్ షేర్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్స్ విత్ యూ పీపుల్, యూ ఆల్ నో దట్. Even for these people it was the same. But what I asked them is, if you go to the interview and if you're unable to crack job, unable to answer something, or what you were unable to answer, come and discuss it with me, I'll correct you. This is what I say. And whatever questions which they have asked, I don't bring it to you, because that way of preparation is nonsense. Okay, learning interview questions doesn't work out, because DevOps interviews are scenario based. Last few days ago, some of the students have said me that they have opened the Terraform file, whatever template of some work or some open source Terraform template. They have opened that in the interview. They have asked them, okay, go through this file and explain me what is happening here. Now, how will that be an interview question? అర్థమైందని చెప్పింది. వాళ్ళ టెరాఫామ్ టెంప్లెట్ ఏదో ఒకటి అసలు మనకి తెలియంది, right? They have opened some Terraform template and asked you to explain. They are opening Kubernetes manifest files and asking you to explain. And if interviews happen like this, నేను అయ్యే జరగాలని కోరుకుంటున్నా, మనస్ఫూర్తిగా అలాగే ఉండాలని కోరుకుంటున్నా. So I want interviews to be like that only, because then you have a better chance of selecting. That is where we stand different. Okay, so all of this, these are the people who have done really hard work, sir, and to them, like what I am doing to you, I have never shared an interview question. Okay, so this is the work which is done by this. So we have Krishna Prasad, we have Suresh, who got as a fresher, and we have Ramkrishna, we have Venkatesh, we have Madhav, we have Raja, right? So we have Ashwita. By the way, she has a very what do you call very small kid to take care of. Her husband works in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so for the 3 months she has came here. She is a training student, she is not JOP student, by the way. She has came here and stayed in relatives home, worked basically by practicing everything, and now she got the job. Okay, right? So this is about if you think that you are doing hard work, think of what she would have done. Yes, a small baby, husband working in different state, in different place, came to relatives home, focused on learning, and then she cracked it. Okay, right. So we have Nagaraju, and then we have Nageswara. All photo layech kada. So the point why I can't put their photos is because when they might have some problem when they go and join in their organizations or something like that. Because in many companies, managers are also my students, right? So one of my student was trying to tell that their manager has opened direct blog notes, and he was trying to tell to all the employees saying that go through this site, there is a lot of DevOps information. మనం చదవం, వాళ్ళు చదువుతున్నారు, right? So and the point which I'm trying to tell is all of these people, most of them are not from computers, most of them don't come from technical backgrounds. All they have done is it has taken 6 months of hard work for them. Yeah. So if it is possible for them, it is also possible for you, because the only thing that is common is hard work, and they have done that. Okay, and I'm hoping another at least 10 to 20 in this month. Yeah, and అన్ని ఉద్యోగాలు ఉన్నప్పుడు బొక్క ఎవడన్నా కొడతారు, right? If there are a lot of jobs, and if there are a lot of openings, then anyone can crack the job. That's okay. Generally, this is the first time which I'm sharing in the last 7 years. The reason is this is the most difficult month in the all 7 years of my journey in DevOps or training in DevOps. That's the reason I'm sharing this information, right, sir? Okay, yeah, right. So it is definitely possible for you people also, right? All you need is 3 to 6 months of dedication. Yes. Okay, and by the way, the freshers there is one fresher who is from BCom. There is one fresher who is both of the freshers are engineers, but they are not from computers. Okay, so it is possible, right? Yeah, Accenture laying off 19. The point is that, sir, the reason is you will not be laid off if you are irreplaceable, and that you can show your mark in your organization only by technical skills. Okay, నాకు మేనేజర్ పోతే ఇంకో మేనేజర్ అవుతాడు, బొక్క పెద్ద ఏం అవదు, అన్ని పని తెలిసిన ఎంప్లాయీ నేను తీలేను. So I cannot never lay off an employee who knows everything about the project. Yeah, rather I'll be increasing his salary every year. Try to become that, and that takes a lot of work, right? Good, sir. Jenkins task, Gurjit, don't worry about it, because I'm quite sure that you have joined quite recently. So when you learn Jenkins, you can do that task. Okay. So tomorrow's Slack will be shared to the or tomorrow the GitOps discussion will be shared to you on a link on Slack where everyone can join. Yes. So yeah. So if you could not see the task you were referring to. Okay, that was given few days ago, Gurji. So there is nothing which you need to worry about. I'm opening it up to everyone. I don't want to put restrictions in learning, but you will never understand GitOps if you have not done the work which I have said earlier. That's the whole point. Okay, right, sir. So I'll stop it. I think it is delayed. Okay, I'll do the same activity again once again in the class, and then we will try to create the whole network. Yeah, right. Okay, sir. Thank you.